Allentown Victory, got a special message for you right now. I want to help you understand that we're moving into something new for all of us. We are now entering into a new age and a new dawn for Allentown Victory, and we believe for much more than just Allentown Victory, but we hope the Lehigh Valley and beyond. We're now moving from what we would call a church, or going to a church building and doing micro churches now, or house churches in multiple locations. And so we say this to say that if you're out there right now, and this is something that's been on your heart, you've been wondering or wanting to start something in your home or to do a house church or micro church, I would encourage you, feel free to contact us. We're looking to help out those that want to be doing it in the Lehigh Valley, those that want to be doing it beyond as well. We're not looking at being controlling or dictating this and that. We want to be someone to help serve you to do what God's called you to be doing. This is now the mantle that's on our house, on our church, on our groups of churches, and this is what we're now looking to be doing now in the valley and here. So we can help support you. As the Lord leads you, we also believe we're being led to help you follow Him in the direction God has called you to be doing. And so this is now what we are doing. We are excited about it. We're moving forward with it. We hope to do some larger services together and come together every few months so we can meet together as things begin calming down with COVID and more. But we hope that you would consider being part of just this, of what we're doing. Again, the Lehigh Valley, maybe something you want to be starting your own thing. If we can help serve you, contact us. That is our joy and our desire. God bless, and we hope to be connecting with you soon. Good morning, Allentown Victory Church. Question for you. What would you do if you were threatened to be killed? Let's talk about that.
I've heard it. You've heard it. It's time for a new beginning. Time to start a fresh page or paint a new picture with our life. Sounds great in theory, but it can seem impossible. Life is messy. The lines have gotten blurred. Maybe we just don't know where to start. We look at the canvas of our lives and see mistake after mistake after mistake. It's overwhelming. When I look at my life with these messy lines and scribbles, it makes me think, is this as good as it gets? There's no eraser that can make this life make sense. But what if? What if there was someone that could make sense of our mess? They could take all our scribbles, all our mistakes, all our missed opportunities, and make them into a masterpiece. And then I remember. There is Jesus. He gives us a new life. Every day is new. Every day is a blank canvas full of possibility and promise. He takes our canvases, our lives that have been filled up with shortcomings, secrets, tragedies, and embarrassments, and He helps them make sense. When I look at the canvas of my life and I see nothing but disorder and chaos, I have to remember this. God is not a God of disorder. He's a God of peace. And you know what? He wants to take my hand and bring peace to the canvas of my life. So as we seek to make our mark, let us give God all our scribbles, all our mistakes, all our hurts, and trust that He will turn our messy lives into a masterpiece, His masterpiece.
Welcome back to our series called Hold Fast. And we've been doing a deep dive into some of the stories in the book of Daniel, particularly surrounding Daniel, and we'll be continuing to do that today. However, I want to start off with a little weird story of my own. You know, since I was 13 years old, I knew that I was called to go to a specific nation. In fact, when I was 13, I was sitting in a chapel service in my Christian high school, and I remember hearing someone talk about Mongolia and the nation of Mongolia, right above China, right below Russia. And I remember the moment that that word was spoken, the word or the name of that country, Mongolia, something got in my heart, and I knew that I wanted to go there. Now, let's step forward a few years later when I'm getting ready to go to college. And all of a sudden, my first day on college, I hear that they are going to be sending people to the nation of Mongolia after a couple years of Bible college. And so I got so excited. I didn't know that going to this Bible college, but I knew that I was supposed to go here. And all of a sudden, my first Sunday there, I'm hearing about that. And I got so excited about that. But then as the years went on, through Bible college, they were very militaristic in how they did things. And they told us that if you ask us to go to a nation, we're not going to send you there. We're going to send you probably to the opposite side of the world. Now, they were doing this because certain people are trying to cherry pick, oh, I want to go here, I want to go there, or I'm not going to go if I don't go here. And so I understand now a little bit why they were saying that. But at that time, as a young, impressionable Christian, I was thinking, oh man, I'm not going to get to go to the nation that I knew I was called to go since I was 13 years old. But nonetheless, when it came time to get to the interview, to be talking about the nation to be going to, I told them, I said, I want to go to Mongolia. I believe I'm called to go to Mongolia. And you know what? They decided to send me there regardless. And they sent me to that nation. And what was interesting is that I was concerned, should I even mention that I want to go there? What should I do? Because if they're going to send me the opposite thing, this is really kind of a game changer for me. I mean, I'll do what I need to do, but this is where I knew I was supposed to be at. And so I still said it though nonetheless, because I knew it was the right thing to tell them what was my intent and my heart and what I sensed and where I sensed God calling me to go. And so, you know, when I look at Daniel, I see some stories like this where he stood up. Now, his circumstances were way more bigger than what I was describing as far as the threat of not going to a nation I felt called to be going to. All right, so that's very small in comparison. And I'll just say I went out there to that nation and God did so many amazing things. And you know, that one speaker I said I heard when I was 13 years old, well, it just so happened that when I was in the nation after 3 months, I happened to turn around a cafe and saw the speaker that I saw when I was 13 years old, and he was the next day about to come back to the United States. And God just brought a full circle moment in that whole time frame. And so just following God and seeing the different steps and everything that God did in that nation and is still doing. I love Mongolia very much. In fact, there's some people watching from Mongolia right now. I love you very much and so glad that you're watching and with us right now during this time. But coming back here to the story of Daniel, we see Daniel being so daring and so courageous. And when he is coming under some major threats, not just him, but the people around him. We saw in some of the stories the other week where, you know, him denying the food could have been a threat to the guard that was over him, where he could have been beheaded. So, you know, he's having his life in danger, but also the people around him. The people around him are having their life in danger as well. And so let's jump first to another scripture about holding fast. fast. In Revelations 2:13, we see a scripture here. And last Sunday, I mentioned something about the name of Jesus and how powerful the name of Jesus is. Just saying that name is important and is powerful. He put power in that name. And so it's beautiful that we can call on his name and receive some of the ingredients that are in his name, like that peace that passes understanding, some of the joy of our salvation, which is found in Jesus. So let me read the scripture. Revelations 2:13, it says, I know your works and where you dwell, where Satan's throne is, and you hold fast to my name. Now, context, this is speaking to some of the 7 churches here in the end times, and I'm not going to get too far into that and what that means, but the point that I want to make is that to one of the churches here, he's saying, hold fast to my name. Hold fast to my name, and you did not delay my faith even in the days in which Antipas was my faithful martyr who was killed among you where Satan dwells. Bottom line here, he's saying, hold fast to my name. There are things that we need to hold fast to. There are things that we need to grab on when tensions begin to pull even more. The threat in our life is to let go of what we know, to release tension. And I get it. It's the desire of all of us. This is why in the Bible you see here it say, do not grow weary in well-doing. In due time you will reap if you do not lose heart. Why? Because we want to grow weary and we want to let go. We want to let go of the things that we're holding on to. Why? Because there's tension, there's resistance. Whenever that's in place, do not put in your head that it's time to let go. Put in your head it's time to hold fast. It's time to hold fast. And during these times when people were dying, okay, in Revelations, he's saying, look, man, you're in the middle of a very difficult situation. You're right where the devil's at, and he's already killed some people. He said, hold fast to my name. In Revelations 2:13, hold fast to my name. Don't let go of the name of Jesus. Don't let go of the name of being a Christian just because it might become or start to become or maybe is already unpopular to be a Christian. Don't let go of that name. Don't be ashamed of Jesus because he is not ashamed of you. And if we think about it, he should be, right? If we want to put in context of human terms, there are lots of things where him associated with me is not the best for his name, yet he still does it. He still loves you. And let's bring that to the flip side of it. How many of us do not like church or people in church? And what do we say? It's because of the hypocrites. It's because of the hypocrites. Well, let me just say this. Jesus put his name on them, and he also put it on you too, right? So he put his name on you, he gave you his name, and he gave them his name as well. And they might be falling way short of his name. However, he does not withhold his name because someone's not reaching up to it or someone's not measuring up. No, instead he reaches down and pulls people up to where he's at. Remember the woman that everyone wanted to throw stones at? He said, get up. Come on, where are your condemners? Get up and go and sin no more. This is what Jesus does. He reaches down to where we're at and brings us up to where he is at. Don't let go of his name because he's bringing you up. Hear that word and receive that word right now. He's bringing you up. Allentown Victory, he's bringing us up. He's elevating us, getting us up when we have in our culture and everywhere around us have felt like we've been knocked down. He is getting you up. That's the word of the Lord for many of us right now, all right? So put out your hand and be ready to receive that God is reaching on his hand and extending us and helping us get up. Don't let go of his name, even when it might seem unpopular, even when people are surrounding you to throw stones at you or to others that might be claiming that name. Know that his name is powerful. Let's hold on to him and hold fast even to the end, all right? So let's go to Daniel here, and we're going to see some interesting scenarios that Daniel's running into. And so here's some maybe context in the form of questions to make us think, how would we be in this situation, all right? Have you ever suffered because of one man or one person? Has there ever been one person in your life where it just, man, suffering just seemed to just come all around you because of what one person did or what one person said? I've had that happen. I've had a few people where they like to say certain things like, what the heck is going on right now? Well, how about this? Have you ever suffered because of the inadequacies of somebody else? Somebody else's inadequacies. Maybe it's on a job site where someone else is performing poorly, or they mess up and you're the one who has to suffer because of it. Or your job is the one suffering because of what someone else is doing. Has it almost ever cost you your life? Well, I don't know if any of us here could possibly say that. Maybe we can look back and think of maybe a near-death experience that might have happened because of somebody else or someone else was careless, but to actually say, like, because of someone else directly, I almost lost my life. Well, that's a whole nother thing. But yet, this is where we find Daniel in. Daniel is in this scenario where his life has been put in the hands of insufficient and inadequate people, and it's not his fault at all. In fact, it all goes back to the king's fault. And to give a little scenario, we're in Daniel chapter 2 here, and Daniel's already passed a couple tests. He's now in the highest degree program. The king has already studied Daniel up and realized he's one of the wisest men. Him and his friends are some of the wisest, and all of the people that are in this new program, to be this 3-year program, to be educated in the ways of the things of the Babylonians, etc. And so here Daniel is here, and he's being elevated. But now all of a sudden the king has a dream, and this is where you're going to find Daniel 2, 1 through 13, and I'm not going to read it right now. It's quite a long text, but I'll give you the synopsis of it here. And so this king has a dream that he's very anxious about. Now, if you remember correctly, Daniel's lived through many emperors, but this is the first emperor that he is coming into. He's a young man, teenager in this program. And so, again, he even rises to the top as a teenager among the king's sons and grandsons. This is where Daniel's at, okay? And so all of a sudden now the king has a dream. Now in this program that he was raised in, they're raised to be magicians, sorcerers, astrologers, okay? That's the degree program. That's their educational program that they're getting. So the king now with this dream now comes to his astrologers, his magicians, his sorcerers, what they call wise men. Remember that term wise men. Next week we're going to talk about that a little bit more, okay? The wise men. So all of a sudden now he comes to the wise men and he says, hey, I want you to interpret my dream. And they said, great king, tell us the dream. And he's like, no. If you guys are so amazing, which, essentially I pay you to be. He didn't exactly say that, don't get me wrong. But he's saying, look, no, you guys tell me what my dream was and then interpret it. Don't expect me to tell you the dream and then you interpret it. That's easy. And so the king just put this, he put the gauntlet down. And not only that, he made it even more severe, because he said this in verse 5. It says, my decision is firm. If you do not make known the dream to me and its interpretation, you shall be cut in pieces, and your houses shall be made an ash heap. This is not a small threat. This is the king who has conquered multiple different nations, okay? This is one of the most conquering kings in history, and here he is giving a threat that, hey, all you guys, if you guys can't figure this out, you and your houses are dead, cut up into pieces. And he said it here, like, this is firm. Don't think I'm joking on this, right? That's a major threat now, a major threat. And so here it comes down now where Daniel is in this company. He, not of any fault of his own, all right? And none of the magicians, none of the sorcerers, none of the astrologers, none of these wise men are able to interpret. In fact, they tell the king, you're asking us something impossible to do. We cannot do this. And the king says, yep, all right, well then, guess what's going to happen? Okay, and so now all of a sudden we're going to be jumping down here to verse 12 and 13. Verse 13, it says, so the decree went out and they began killing the wise men. Right? Remember I said how they're classified as wise men. And they sought Daniel and his companions to kill them. Then with counsel and wisdom Daniel answered Arioch, the captain of the king's guard, who had gone out to kill the wise men of Babylon. So let me stop here, because I'm going to kind of subtitle this a little bit, calling Unchaining Wisdom. Unchaining wisdom. We're talking about holding fast. But when you're holding fast, sometimes you need to unchain wisdom. If you look back in the title of the series here, we have a chain being taut. Has tension upon it. And so sometimes when you have certain tensions that are going on, sometimes all you can do is just stand or just hold on. But sometimes in the midst of that holding on, you have to release something inside of you. You have to release perhaps things that you're holding on to that's weighing you down or giving you the wrong kind of tension. Sometimes you need to let go of the weights that so easily beset you, as it talks about in Hebrews chapter 12. Other times you need to also let go and release faith. You need to release the God kind of ingredients into your situation that will help ease the tensions and bring you into what God has for you. So this is why I'm calling this and label this unchaining wisdom, because that's what Daniel did here. So look at what just happened here. And I'm going to give you 7 points, 7 things to help you unchain wisdom in the tensions that happen in your life. If you are under threat, if you are under duress, if you are under pressure that seems unfair and ungodly, take a look at these 7 steps, and I encourage you to look at applying them in your life, because I believe you will see a benefit to anyone that applies these steps. I believe they'll see benefit to them. All right, so number 1, real easy here. Don't be anxious. All right, number 1, don't be anxious. Right here, you have the king's order coming down, and you have Arioch, the high guard of the king, coming to kill Daniel. And he pretty much says, hey, hold on a second. Wait a second. And he just all of a sudden, instead of panicking, instead of getting in panic mode, instead of running away, instead of getting anxious and going, is doing some kind of scare or hiding. Oh, I'm not here. Adam and Eve, I'm not here, Lord. I'm hiding, whatever it is, even though Adam did say I'm here. But point being is that sometimes we hide from the Lord. Sometimes we're hiding from some of the things. We're hiding from trouble. And we do things out of anxiety that hurt ourselves. We start panicking, getting worried, and we make mistakes in those moments. So step number 1, don't be anxious. The Bible says, be anxious for nothing. Be anxious for nothing. For the promotion you're believing for, be anxious for nothing. For the steps that are ahead, be anxious for nothing. For the relationship you're looking at, be anxious for nothing. For the hope you're believing for, be anxious for nothing. Don't allow the nerves to create movement in your life. Allow the Spirit of God to create movement. When nerves are trumping the Spirit of God inside of you, then we are moving in anxiety or fear or something else and not in God. And it could be something good you want to move towards. Man, I can't tell you how many times that happens with me. Good things, I want to be moving towards things that I think are God things. Yet if I move out of a sense of urgency, okay, now sometimes things are urgent, but if I move out of anxiety, which also cloaks as urgency, then I'm moving outside of the Spirit of God. I'm moving based on feelings, and I don't want to move based on the feeling. I want to move based on what God is saying and what God is doing, or, as I'm talking about here, based on wisdom. Wisdom. So the first thing is, you see Daniel not getting anxious. Step number 2, get the facts. Get the facts. And so that's what he does here. Again, he says, verse 14, then with counsel and wisdom, Daniel answered Arioch. You see that counsel and wisdom, the captain of the king's guard who had gone out to kill the wise men of Babylon. Verse 15, he answered and said to Arioch, the king's captain, why is a decree from the king so urgent? Okay, then Arioch made the decision known to Daniel. So here, all of a sudden, he just, hey, wait a second, why? Well, what are the facts here? What's going on exactly, right? So when someone just comes rushing in, why are they doing that? Why are they rushing in? What's this urgency all about? This is wisdom right here. This is wisdom. It's saying, hey, okay, I'm not going to be anxious here. Let me get the facts, all right? And all of a sudden starts slowing things down a little bit, all right? Starts slowing the momentum down a little bit. Starts shifting the anxiety that others have, right? See, that's what happens when you don't move from anxiety and you're moving from a place of peace and wisdom. You can shift the anxiety of others that are coming at you. Let me say that again, all right? When you are moving in peace and wisdom, all right, and someone else is coming at you with anxiety, you have the power and ability to shift that anxiety around. All right, and here's what he says, what are the facts? Tell me right now, what's going on? And all of a sudden the king's guard said, hey, this is what's happening, and began unfolding it. So number 1, don't be anxious. Number 2, get the facts. Don't assume. Let me put that with the facts part. Don't assume. Assumption is a killer. Assumption breeds and feeds anxiety. Do you hear me there? The assumption feeds and breeds anxiety. We need to be careful of assumptions. That's something I really try to be careful about. I think, man, there's even a 1% chance. I'm going to give you one scenario real quick that I run into, all right? Where, let's say someone is running late or they don't show up for something. And you might be getting mad. You might be thinking, oh, they disrespected me, or they didn't call, they did this, or that. And I just think of this little thought that helps me just dissipate all that. What if they're in the hospital? What if something happened to them? I would feel so bad moving on an assumption if something bad happened to them. And that just causes me pause from moving any further in any realm of assumption, because I realize there are things outside of my present understanding that could have taken place, and I need to give room. I need to get the facts first before I even have any feelings towards this matter. Okay? Get the facts. All right? So number 1, don't be anxious. Number 2, get the facts. Number 3, make space. All right? Make space. Or let me put in other words, get time. All right? See if you can delay things. See if you can make time or make space in the situation. Sometimes when someone gets too close to you, let's say maybe a fight's about to happen, you want to create a little bit of space. You want to create a little space between you and them. We all like to have our safe space, so to speak. And sometimes when an anxious situation or a threatening situation is coming upon you, you need to look at ways to make space, okay? And that's what he did here. So verse 16 says, then Daniel went in and asked the king to give him time that he may tell the king the interpretation. Now, I'm going to pause here because before that, these other people, the king said, you're trying to ask for time and you're not going to get any time. You're just trying to delay the inevitable killing that's about to happen. But here, Daniel, I don't know whether he knew about that or not. He goes straight to the king. Look at how courageous Daniel is, right? The king is saying, hey, all you guys are going to be dead, right? If you guys can't figure it out. And Daniel gets the order against him and he goes to the king himself. How courageous is that? Man, when you're dealing with anxiety, can you go straight up to the source and do that? Listen, he was not being moved by everything around him. He was being moved by who was inside of him. And he went into the courts of the king and asked for more time, and he got favor. He made an appeal to the king, a humble appeal to the king for his own life, for his friend's life, but it wasn't even just that. It was for more people's lives, all the quote-unquote wise men. Nonetheless, he asked for time. So make space, all right? Figure out how to make space. Number 1, don't be anxious. Number 2, all right, get the facts. Number 3, make space. Number 4, don't do it alone. Let's look at verse 17. Then Daniel went to his house and made the decision known to Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, his companions, which are also known as Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Verse 18, that they may seek the mercies from God of heaven concerning this secret, speaking of the dream, so that Daniel and his companions might not perish with the rest of the wise men of Babylon. So this is what Daniel did. He went and he invoked his friends to come in and let's pray together. Church, don't do it alone. Don't do your situation alone. Don't do the thing that's stressing you out alone. Don't be anxious for nothing, number 1. But at the same time, if you're going through a situation that would bring anxiety to others, don't do it alone. Go and run with other people. Bring some other people. Do you have people that you can ask right now to pray with you and for you? If you don't, you're in the wrong circles. Let me say it again. If you don't have people that you can ask for prayer, all right, don't blame everyone around you. You got to look at yourself, okay? What church are you going to? Are you going to church? Are you surrounding yourself? Are you plugging in? Are you entering into what's going on there? Or have you been pulling away? It's so easy to pull away during this COVID time. It's so easy to start withdrawing. The whole circumstances make it very simple to do that. But I want to encourage you, don't withdraw, engage. Because there's going to be moments when we need to pull on those engagements even harder. And here, right here, he didn't do it alone. He pulled his friends in and said, hey, pray. We need to pray together for salvation right here. We need to pray that we get saved here from this threat of what's going on, okay? Then the next one here, verse 19, then the secret was revealed to Daniel in a night vision. So Daniel blessed the God of heaven. Now, I love this. Whether it was a vision at nighttime, whether he was dreaming, doesn't say dream, it says night vision. It was at nighttime. Okay, that he gets a vision and he gets the dream. He knows what the dream is, and God reveals to him the secret. But here, the secret was revealed to Daniel, but right before that, you see that he was calling on God. He didn't go to another sorcerer. He didn't go to another astrology person. He didn't go to another nation to try to find the secrets of life and the secrets of this thing that could kill him, or what it was. He went to the source. He went to God himself and asked for God's to reveal his secrets to him. Call on God, all right? Don't be anxious. Get the facts, all right? Get the facts. Make space. Don't do it alone. And number 5, call on God. Jeremiah 33:3 says this, call on him. Call on him. Call on God. We need to be calling on him, and he will answer you and show you great and mighty things that you do not yet know of. All right, this is what he says here in the scripture, to call on him, and he will show you things that you don't yet know. Especially when we're going through situations where the pressure cooker is on. We need the God who reveals secrets to us so that we can, yes, God wants to give you an advantage. He wants to reveal secrets to you so you can have an advantage to move forward. Why? Because if the advantage will give glory to him, then it is to his advantage as well to give you that advantage. That might be a little bit of a tongue twister, but the point is, if you're going to be pointing towards God, then God will point back to you and give you those revelations to help see the advancement of his kingdom. All right, so number 5 is call on God. Then we keep going down and we jump into verse 20, and I'm going to jump to verse 23 or 22. It says, he reveals deep and secret things. He knows what is in the darkness, and the light dwells with him. This is Daniel praising God. I thank you and praise you, O God of my fathers. And he keeps going. Verse 20 through 23 is a praise unto God. But right here, I thank you and I praise you. Point 6, thank him and praise him. thank Him and praise Him. After you call on God, you might not even get the answer right away. It doesn't matter. Thank Him and praise Him. When we go back to that first point of don't be anxious, we go to the scripture that talks about be anxious for nothing, but in everything, in prayer and supplication and thanksgiving, make your request known to God. When you're making a request known to God, make sure you're thanking Him for all the other requests that He's answered in your life. Let me say it again. When you're making a request known to God, okay, it says be anxious for nothing, right? In all your prayers, right? Add supplication, all right? Add thanksgiving. There's a few of the things in there that I already mentioned here, but add thanksgiving to it. Make sure you remember what God did before as you're coming to make this request known to God right now, okay? That's an important ingredient. And if you get the answer, take time to thank God. Sometimes we get an answer, we get something happen, and we just run with it. We run off with God's answer, and sometimes we also run off with God's glory. Let me say it again. Sometimes we run off with God's answer, and sometimes we also run off with God's glory. We don't take the time to pause and reflect and give back to God the praise that is due Him directly. Church, if God has answered your prayers, have you paused to thank Him? Now, I'm not just talking about a few second pause. I'm not talking about a quick kneel, thank you, Lord, and then keep going. I'm talking about, have you really sincerely thanked God? Is your praise equivalent to the urgency of your request? Could drop the mic on that one, all right? Is your praise equivalent to the urgency of your request? When you made that request to God and the urgency that was in your heart about it, the anxiety that you gave to Him, does your praise reflect that kind of same emotional stress and relief? Or have we already forgotten after the answer comes? Oh, church, I want to encourage you. Praise and thanksgiving is for those that have sight. Is those who can see God, those who want to see God, those who want to glorify God, those who want to see God in this earth, those who want to see God's world, God's kingdom expanded more and more and more. It's a gift of sight. It means that you can see, and if you can't thank God, it only shows that you're blind. That's what that means. It's a symptom of blindness. When we don't have gratitude, it's a symptom of blindness. So here you have Daniel thanking God. Okay, so again, number 1, don't be anxious. Number 2, get the facts. Number 3, make space. Number 4, don't do it alone. Number 5, call on God. Number 6, thank Him and praise Him. And then we're going to be jumping down. You have verse 24, and it keeps going where he's coming before the king. He brings it before the king's guard. The king's guard rushes him over and brings him before the king. And then verse 46, it says, then King Nebuchadnezzar fell on his face, prostrate before Daniel. Okay, so that means prostrate means he fell down flat on his face, right? Face, nose to the floor, right before Daniel. The king was so humbled when he heard the dream that no one else knew about except God revealed it to Daniel, that he was so humbled. And not only that, Daniel then interpreted the dream on top of that, okay? So God gave him the dream and the interpretation. He gave him the secrets of man right there. And so here it says again, he felt the king, Nebuchadnezzar, this conquering king who can threaten people's lives in a second, the very people he's trying to raise up, he could wipe them out. That's how powerful this king is, okay? And he commanded, verse 46, that they should present an offering and increase to him. This is to Daniel. Verse 47, the king answered Daniel and said, truly, your God is the God of gods, okay, the Lord of kings, and a revealer of secrets, since you could reveal this secret. Then the king promoted Daniel and gave him many great gifts and made him ruler over the whole province of Babylon and chief administrator over all the wise men of Babylon. Also Daniel petitioned the king and he set Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego over the affairs of the province of Babylon. But Daniel sat in the gate of the king. All right, so look at what Nebuchadnezzar did here. And this is where it brings us to point 7. Daniel pointed the king towards faith. I want to encourage you, point people towards God. Point people towards God. When you're going through this situation, after you thanked Him and praised Him, make sure we're giving that glory directly to Him first. Thank Him and praise Him directly, but also make sure we're pointing people towards God, that we're not taking the glory that belongs to Him. This is what Daniel did. He said that God told him. He knew that God told him, and the king knew that God told him. And then look what the king did. The king then pointed towards God as well and said, truly, your God is the King of kings. Your God is the Lord of kings. And you had literally him humbled, a king on the floor, bowing down before someone who was a slave. Think about that. That's what God can do. The goal is not, let me just rewind for a second, because the goal is not to have man just bow before you. The goal is for man to be humbled before God and realize how great God is. And Daniel pointed towards God. Daniel never pointed to himself. He always pointed towards God. And through that, God promoted him. Why? Because when God promotes that man, God knows that that man is promoting him. This is how the Trinity works. Man, God loves Jesus, loves the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit loves Jesus, loves God. Jesus loves the Holy Spirit and loves God. And they're all promoting and giving glory to one another. And they all love each other and lift each other up. And likewise with us, when we lift God up, He lifts us up as well. Okay, and He knows the intentions of our heart. So if you're going through a high tension situation, if you're dealing with threats, anxieties, things that seem overwhelming, I want to encourage you, last look at these 7 steps here. Don't be anxious, get the facts, make space, don't do it alone. Call on God, thank Him and praise Him, and point people towards God, towards faith. Some questions to be asking in your micro church. Number 1, what is something that continually makes us anxious that we need to practice this with? All right, what's something right now in our life that is making us, or something that we run into a lot that's making us continually anxious? So an anxiety that we deal with on a constant basis, where we need to practice these 7 steps right here. Number 2, who can you call on for prayer support? Okay, kind of mentioned the message there, but who can you call on in prayer support? Mention somebody. Maybe it's a parent, maybe it's a loved one, maybe it's someone in your circle right now. Maybe there's someone in your circle that you haven't called on, but you know you could if you needed to. Mention that, say that out loud, identify that. Okay, and then here's a secondary question, then this is rhetorical, the second part to question number 2, all right? Don't answer this, but let me ask you, can people call on you? Would people call on you for prayer? Can they call on you for prayer? Are you available for prayer? If I were to ask you right now, hey, pray for me, Pastor Matthew, would you pray for me? Could you pray for me? I want to encourage you to be a person that someone else can call when they're in need of help and need someone to be praying for them. Number 3, can we say a prayer of thanks and praise to God for a trouble He has gotten us through? You know, in our prayer time, I want to encourage each of you just to take a moment and thank God for a situation that He got you through. Maybe something from a while ago, maybe something just from yesterday or from this week. But I want to encourage you, thank God. Take a moment to thank God. Take a moment to reserve some time to really give Him quality and focused thanks and praise for what He's done, because He deserves it. He's worthy of it. Again, what was the urgency of our request? Does our praise even match that? Because really it should even exceed that, to be honest. Okay, so let's take a moment to thank God in our prayer time. And number 4, let us think who was with us during that time, and did we help point them to God? So in that situation that you might be thanking God for and praising Him for, was there someone else that was in that journey with you? And did you point them towards God? Did you reveal that when the answer came about, that you point them to God and say, you know what, God showed me this, God showed me that? You know, I'm going to stop here for a second, because let's just think about relationships for a second. You know, as a pastor, I hear a lot of relational issues. I hear a lot of people complain about their spouse or someone else in their life, what's going on. And here's what usually happens, okay? What usually happens, someone complains, oh, this person, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, right? And I'm very slow. I don't take sides very quickly. I'll listen, I'll sympathize with what they're going through, but I understand that's their perspective, and I don't have all the facts yet. Remember, get the facts. I don't have all the facts just yet. I have one person's facts. Usually what happens is that maybe after a few days, after a few weeks, or after a couple months, all of a sudden those emotions change and shift, and now this person's back in love with that person, or likes this person, or there's no issue once again, and everyone has moved on, yet you're still left with the baggage that that person dumped on you, and those thoughts of, well, if that person did this, this, and that. Let me ask you, some of the people that you've badmouthed people about, all right, that you've complained about, some people that were there and you were able to cry on their shoulder, have you ever corrected and showed them, hey, you know what, God corrected me? All right, God showed me the truth. I was wrong, and thank you for being there when I needed you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being that person, that moment. But God showed me a different perspective, and I want to show you the perspective He showed me. Have you taken time to point to God, to the people that we might have put our burdens and trash upon? Have you taken time to give a testimony what God did in that matter? I want to encourage you to do that. In fact, hey, Why don't you do that with me as well? I would love to hear some of the testimonies of some of the things that you've dealt with and are going through, perhaps that you shared with me, and now you're on the other side of it and see God's glory and God's goodness in those matters. So look, pray with one another here. Take some time to do that. I want to encourage you to give online, allentownvictory.com/give, and we'll see you next week. God bless you.